Hello everyone, I'm Beastly Eel, and in today's video we're going to be talking about the latest episode of X-Men 97. So some key things here that have to be mentioned. In the opening credits scene, there are two characters who no longer exist in the opening credits. Magneto and Gambit, both of which have been removed from the opening credits, and one of them was replaced with Nightcrawler. So we have the story start off. Um, there's two stories going on at once. One with Charles Xavier and the Shahar people, and then the other one is Storm and Forge. So I'm going to do the Storm and Forge one first because it's quicker, to be honest with you. So the creature, the creature that was attacking them is apparently some sort of demon and was trying to mess with Storm's fears. So Forge uses his magic from his mother and sends the demon away. He's now bleeding and has poison going through his veins, basically. So he explains that there's only one way, one thing that he thinks of that could actually stop the poison, and it's a cactus that his mother taught him about, but it only grows in a very dark location. So she says, "Just tell me where to go, and I'll get it myself." And he says, "No." He goes, "I don't. If I don't make it, I don't want to die alone." So she agrees to have him come with her, and the two of them ride off to this location, this mountain made out of rock. I know that's stupid to say because aren't all mountains made out of rock, but it literally looks like just a massive rock that was kind of shaped. Apparently, it was used in the 1800s to hide weapons and everything else. Apparently, that caused a lot of destruction to Forge's people. They get inside. She's now trying to figure out where the cactus is, and he explained that one of the reasons why he wanted to come was because he knew she had a fear. And so he lights the way and shows like this mine shaft and explains that it's got to be in there somewhere. So she goes in. Well, that's when the fear creature comes back, basically stating to her that she's to just give in and let her fear take over. She then realizes that the demon is a piece of her. It's her fear. And that the machinery that shot her was not the only thing that was blocking her powers. It was clearly her own psychic issues. Not to say that um not to say that the radiation itself did not cause enough damage for her to lose her powers. It did temporarily, but it was her own mental fear that stopped her from doing it after. So she used broke her fear, um, got reconnected with the weather, and her entire costume has changed. Her hair has grown long, and so she's now the goddess of weather. So she has now turned into Storm, the real Storm. So she goes through, gets the cactus, gets Forge back in, heals him, and everything else. She then, her and Forge are flirting. He explains that they should go away together and have some fun, and she thinks it's a great idea until they see the news, which is Genosha blown up, and she realizes she has to go help her friends, and that should be her main priority in her mind, which is not a bad idea. That being said, we now move on to Charles Xavier. Apparently, he's alive and well, using an exoskeleton made by the Shari Empire. Apparently, they're at war with the Kree. We get to see Ronan, the accuser, get defeated by the Empire, the Shi'ar Empire. Shi'ar. I knew I was saying it wrong. Shi'ar Empire, along with Gladiator, Bird, Nightbird, I believe is her name, the sister of Charles Xavier's new girlfriend, the Empress of the Shi'ar. So they defeat Ronan and everything else, and that's when our friend, the Empress, explains to her entire empire that she is to wed Charles Xavier so he could be the emperor alongside of her. Nobody's happy with that because he's a Terran, and Terrans are apparently weak individuals. So, part of this, Nightbird is ticked off with this and wants the throne, basically. So she explains that she's going to have them put a test on Charles Xavier and that it's of her choosing. And she chooses that he has to forget every single memory he's had of Earth and his X-Men. And if he refuses, neither of them should be in charge of the Empire, and she should be in charge. Big shocker, right? So he decides that he's going to do so. He gets in there, and his memory starts, or seems to look like it's about to be erased. And then Charles Xavier, when asked, is he going to relinquish his memories of the X-Men, even though he does of Earth and everything else, he decides against it. Or hesitates, I should say. I shouldn't say he's against it. He definitely hesitates. And that's when Nightbird comes in saying, obviously, he shouldn't be a part of this, blah, blah, blah. And a fight breaks out. And that's when Charles Xavier gets ticked off, takes off his helmet, and brings everyone into the astral plane. And he explains that obviously he has to be a teacher for all of you, and explains why the Shi'ar Empire is such an issue. They've ruined civilizations by just conquering and making them go in their routes. And he thinks that's a problem. Explaining that they need to work together and actually form alliances together, that coexisting is not easy, but it's for the best of all society. And it sounds like he's trying to convince them, and it seems like it's working until all of a sudden he starts seeing skeletons, and he sees Gambit, a giant Gambit, literally turn into a skeleton and shoot a green blast very similar to the blast that was created by the Sentinel. So Charles Xavier realizes his friends and his students need him more than ever, and explains that he has to go back to Earth now. And the Empress is like, "But Charles, like we almost convinced the council that you should be with, you could be with me." And he explains it doesn't matter right now. If this ends our relationship, then so be it. I need to help my friends more than ever. I need to go back to Earth, and that is how we think the episode ends. So it does technically end there, but there is a scene after the fact where we see the creator of Master Mold running away and being chased by somebody. So the real big bad happens to be none other than Mr. Sinister, which makes me think that the big bad is actually going to be Apocalypse. The reason why I say that is because Mr. Sinister by himself, well, he doesn't do well. So he always needs Apocalypse to kind of help him out. So my thought process is Mr. Sinister might be the person on this timeline to do it, but I feel like Apocalypse might be forcing his hand a little bit. But we'll have to wait and see to know for sure. But what I will say is, this was actually a really good episode. Not as good as the episode before it, unfortunately, but still great. So let me know what you guys thought about this episode down in the comments below. Did you like it? Did you not? And why? And as always, if you like the content you see, please make sure to like and subscribe down below. Other than that, this is going to be Beastly Eel signing out. Have a great night.